Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, if someone tried to break into your network right now, would you know? Would you see the early indicators? Would you contain it fast enough? Or would you only find out after systems are encrypted, accounts are abused, and data is already gone? That's not paranoia. That's modern cybersecurity. And today we're going to walk through what real cyber defense looks like from a blue team perspective. Not theory, not vendor promises, but operational, practical defense. Welcome to Bluehat Cybersec Academy. In this session, we're diving deep into cyber defense and blue team awareness, specifically defensive strategies around hardening systems and strengthening threat detection. We'll talk through how to minimize your attack surface, how incident response really works under pressure, how threat hunting changes your defensive posture, and how all of this connects in real-world environments. So let's start where every strong defense begins: system hardening and minimizing attack surface. Think about this for a moment. Attackers don't break in magically. They exploit exposure, an open port, a forgotten service, an over-permissioned account, an unpatched vulnerability. System hardening is the deliberate act of reducing opportunity. It's about asking one powerful question again and again. Does this need to exist? If the answer is no, remove it. Before you harden anything, though, you need visibility. You cannot protect what you cannot see. That means building and maintaining a real asset inventory: servers, workstations, containers, cloud instances, network devices, even shadow IT. It needs to be living documentation, not a spreadsheet that hasn't been updated in a year. Tag assets by business criticality. Assign ownership. Run internal scans regularly. Treat unknown assets as suspicious until validated. And here's a simple win: decommission unused systems immediately. Let me ask you, when was the last time you reviewed your full asset inventory end to end? Once you know what you have, the next move is closing exposure. Most breaches start with something unnecessarily exposed. Audit running services. On Windows, review services. On Linux, list unit files. Run internal network scans. Look for legacy protocols: FTP, Telnet, SMB-v1. Look for exposed RDP or SSH. Remote access should sit behind VPN. Restrict it to known IP ranges. Block everything else by default. Organizations have been compromised within hours of exposing RDP to the internet. Bots are constantly scanning. They don't sleep. The fewer doors you have, the fewer doors attackers can knock on. Now let's talk about patching. And I want you to hear this clearly. Patching is not maintenance. It's prevention. Unpatched vulnerabilities remain one of the most consistent initial access vectors. Adopt weekly patch cycles. Deploy critical patches within 48 hours when possible. Use automated patch management. Test before production rollout. And track the CVEs that actually affect your environment, not just vendor summaries. Convenience should never outrank risk. Next comes least privilege, one of the most powerful defensive controls you can implement. Most lateral movement succeeds because accounts have more access than they need. So, implement role-based access control. Remove unnecessary local admin rights. Use just-in-time elevation for administrative tasks. Monitor privileged account usage, and review admin groups monthly. In many ransomware incidents, domain admin credentials become the blast radius multiplier. Reduce privilege, and you reduce damage. And hardening doesn't stop at individual fixes. It actually requires secure baselines. Use recognized benchmarks to build hardened gold images for servers, workstations, and cloud virtual machines. Then enforce configuration management so systems don't drift over time. Security isn't a one-time setup, it's continuous enforcement. Layer this across endpoints, networks, and cloud. On endpoints, disable macros by default, enforce disk encryption, deploy EDR, and remove local admin access. On the network, segment aggressively. Limit east-west traffic, deploy IDS or IPS. Embrace zero-trust principles. In the cloud, disable public storage buckets. Enforce MFA everywhere. Restrict IAM roles and monitor API permissions. Each layer you harden reduces attacker maneuverability. Now, even with strong hardening, let's be realistic. No defense is perfect. That's where incident response comes in. Incident response is not panic. It's process. There are 6 essential phases: preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. Preparation happens before the storm. Build incident response playbooks, define severity levels, establish escalation paths and communication templates, retain logs long enough to investigate slow-moving threats, Run tabletop exercises, simulate ransomware, simulate insider abuse, simulate cloud compromise. If an incident happened tonight, who gets called first? Does everyone know their role? Identification is about detecting what doesn't belong. Watch for suspicious logins, privilege escalation, unusual outbound traffic, unknown processes, authentication anomalies. Without a behavioral baseline, everything is noise. Technology flags anomalies. Humans interpret context. Containment is about stopping the spread. In the short term, you need to isolate infected hosts and disable compromised accounts. For the long term, adjust firewall rules, tighten segmentation, and deploy monitoring controls. It's important to preserve forensic evidence whenever possible, and don't rush to shut down systems unless it's absolutely necessary. Would your team know how to isolate a host in under 5 minutes? After containment comes eradication. Remove malware artifacts, patch exploited vulnerabilities, and rotate affected credentials. Make sure you verify that persistence mechanisms are gone. Always assume attackers left more than one way back in. Then comes recovery. Restore from clean backups and monitor aggressively for reinfection. Gradually reintegrate systems into production. Remember, recovery is controlled restoration, not blind optimism. And finally, lessons learned. Conduct reviews. How did initial access occur? Which control failed? What would have prevented it? Update playbooks and defenses accordingly. Incidents are tuition, learn from them. Now let's move into threat hunting and continuous monitoring. Because, mature blue teams don't just react. They hunt. Threat hunting assumes something uncomfortable. The attacker may already be inside. It's hypothesis-driven investigation, not just random log searching. It starts with a theory. For example, an attacker may be using PowerShell for lateral movement. From there, you map that hypothesis to known adversary techniques. You review telemetry, like PowerShell logs, EDR events, authentication records, DNS traffic, and VPN logs. You validate findings. If evidence suggests malicious activity, you escalate into incident response. Hunting improves detection engineering. Every hunt refines future alerts. So, when was the last time your team conducted a proactive hunt instead of simply responding to alerts? Monitoring supports hunting. High-value telemetry includes domain controller logs, firewall traffic, endpoint process creation logs, VPN authentication data, and cloud audit trails. If it isn't logged, you cannot investigate it. Logging is not storage overhead. It's defensive memory. Let's connect all of this to real-world defensive applications. For ransomware prevention, disable SMBV1. Remove domain-wide admin privileges. Enforce MFA. Segment networks. Maintain immutable backups. Deploy behavioral EDR. Most ransomware spreads through privilege abuse and flat networks. Break those, and you break the attack chain. For cloud account takeover, enforce MFA. Alert on impossible travel logins. Monitor IAM role changes. Log every API call. In the cloud, identity is the perimeter. For insider threats, monitor abnormal data transfer volumes, alert on USB usage, track privilege changes, and analyze behavioral anomalies. Insiders bypass perimeter defenses, so behavioral detection becomes critical. As you mature, your blue team capability evolves. Some organizations are reactive, alert-driven, with no formal incident response in place. Others are more structured, with central logging and clearly defined processes. Proactive teams, well, they conduct regular threat hunts and simulations. And then you have adaptive teams, who integrate automation, threat intelligence, and even purple team collaboration. So, where would you place your organization today? And now, before we close, I want to challenge you. Can you name and explain the 6 phases of incident response without looking? If ransomware hit right now, what's your first technical action? Do you have at least 30 days of centralized logs? When was your last proactive threat hunt? Pause and think about that for a moment. Drop your answers in the comments. And tell us, what should Bluehat Cybersec Academy break down next? Maybe advanced SIEM tuning, Active Directory attack paths, cloud detection engineering, or perhaps zero trust architecture? We build this content for you. Thanks for watching Bluehat Cybersec Academy. If this video added value to your day, give it a like, share it with someone who could benefit, and subscribe for more practical networking and cybersecurity content from Bluehat Cybersec Academy. Drop a comment. We'd love to hear how you're applying these concepts in your own environment. See you next time. Stay curious, stay secure, and keep building networks that actually work.